Johnny Works. It's September 2020, and whether you like it or not, it's back to school, just like my kids. Back to school for you. Today's tool school video is going to be on the caulking gun. Alright, I know some people out there that know me pretty well. They think I'm going to say a lot of funny stuff because it's called the caulking gun, but I'm going to try really hard not to make a lot of caulking jokes. This one's made by HDX. I got it at Home Depot. I've had it for a while. Okay, we use these at work. I have a couple at my house. Caulking gun is an easy tool to use, but if you don't understand the basics, you are gonna do some bad caulking. You're gonna do a bad job, and it's gonna be a nightmare because you have to dig it all out, and then after it's a pain in the butt. Okay, so I recommend this one right here. This is my favorite one because the price under 10 bucks. I forget, $9.99, something like that. Awesome. This hunk of crap. I don't want to say who it's made by, but it's all metal. It's a hunk of crap. I hate it. Okay, I don't recommend them. If you have a metal one and you like it, good for you. I hate this thing. The caulking will just keep flowing out all the time. This one I don't recommend. All right. So you get tubes of caulking. Caulk your bathtub. You can caulk your countertops. You can caulk your trim, your baseboard. You can caulk anything. All right. You can put glue in these, construction glue, any kind of thing. All the tubes are same size, okay? They do make extra large tubes if you're on the construction site, okay? Big ones if you were doing a whole deck or a whole reframe in your house, you might buy the big gun, get the big tube of PL glue and use that. But that's a different day. But you know what? Works exactly the same, it's just bigger. Caulking gun. Make sure you buy the right caulk for the job. Make sure you buy the right product for the job. Exterior and interior caulk, silicone, kitchens and baths, door trim, windows, they make all kinds of caulk. You want to make sure you get the right caulk for the job. Alright, so a professional painter always has a bucket of water, a couple wet rags, okay? You don't want to get the caulk all over it, alright? It's messy, once it dries you gotta scrape off the caulk, okay? Some people use tape. If you're not good at caulking straight joints, okay? If you're caulking the edge of, say, a countertop to the wall or something, or anything where you want to make a nice, perfect straight line, I would recommend using tape, okay? You put that tape down, you leave it back a little bit, you fill that thing with caulk. As soon as you're done caulking it and you look at it and it looks nice, gently peel that tape away from the caulking, okay? And that'll leave that nice straight line, and do not touch that thing till it dries, okay? This caulking gun, the way this thing's gonna work is, you see the hook is up, all right? So you're gonna basically turn it to the side, pull this thing all the way back, okay? You can see in there, you're gonna pull that bad boy all the way to the back, okay? Turning it to the side. If it's straight up, you can't pull it back, okay? So you're gonna turn it, pull it back, okay? That's how you're gonna load it, all right? So before you load this thing, okay, you take your tube of caulking, okay? This one's sealed up, all right? It says cutter right there. See that little thing? Okay, that's gonna cut this thing. So you put the tip in, I'll show you up top, and you only wanna put the tip in, just the tip, okay? If you put too much in there, you put too much in, not just the tip, you put that whole thing in there, and you cut it, it's so hard for me, and you cut that thing, you're gonna let out a whole bunch of caulk, okay? It's gonna be way too much, that caulk's gonna go everywhere. So you need to make a small cut, okay? All right, so if you don't have a utility knife, this is how you're gonna do it. Put it in, just a little bit, make that nice little cut. There it is, tiny little hole, okay? That way you only have a little bit of caulk coming out. All right, so this thing's straight up, I can't pull it back. Turn it to the side, pull it back, put that caulking gun in, okay? Turn it back up, squeeze the trigger a little bit, don't squeeze too hard, just enough till you feel it get tight. That means that little thing pushes right up against the caulk. That's why it stopped. And now if I squeeze and it's a little harder, the caulk's coming out. It's gonna start running, okay? If it starts running and you wanna stop it, turn the handle. Sometimes you have to turn the handle and pull it back a little bit, okay? Depends on the caulking gun. This one, I usually just turn the handle and it works great, it stops. This little thing right here, okay? It's glued in there, but I'll show you. So, this little arm pops up, okay? It pops out, and if the tube of caulking you're using, or glue, or with silicone or whatever, has a film or like a plastic or aluminum like cover on the inside so it doesn't dry out. You might have to cut the hole. Okay, I'll show you. Cut the caulking open, pull this lever out, and then you jam it in the hole, okay? This one I don't have to do it to, but a lot of times you jam that thing in 3 or 4 times, it breaks that seal, now you're good to go. So I'm gonna put this thing back, and it folds right back to the gun. All right, so I got my bucket of water next to me. I got a wet rag, okay? I'm gonna wring it out, because you don't need that much, okay? Just in case. I'm not even gonna use it, but just in case I need it. Or if this was in my actual house, and this was finished paint or finished floor, as soon as I get that stuff down, I wanna wipe it off, okay? I wanna wipe everything off while it's wet, all right? Don't let that thing dry out. Here we go. So, you see this little gap right here? It's not big. I did a nice job. I put this thing on, okay? And I cut a little tiny hole. Now, I'm gonna squeeze that trigger. Just enough to fill that hole. Or I should say, that gap. Now, what I would do and what a lot of painters do, I'm not saying it's a great idea, but you usually lick your finger, okay? You lick your finger and you smooth that caulking in, okay? And then you take the excess and you wipe it on your rag, okay? You could caulk normally at work on new construction. They'll do all their caulking and nail puttying before, okay? So all the caulking will already be done, then they paint their walls and their trim, okay? So you go right over that caulking and you don't even see it, all right? So, tiny little bead. If you could see that up close, you could see it. There's not a lot of caulking in there because I made my hole really small, okay? All these nail holes in my trim, don't use caulking for those. You can, but that's not what it's made for. It's not gonna work out right. You need to get wood filler or some spackle, and that stuff's made to fill these nail holes. You gotta fill them, let it dry, sand them off. That's a different story, okay? All right, so here's my next part. If this was finished painted, which it's not, I would take some of my blue tape or my green tape, green today, and I would put that right on the edge. Okay, and this takes a little skill too. You gotta take your time. The prep takes longer than the actual job, okay? You wanna keep it on just the wood, all right? And then you can fold it down. Grab your caulking gun and just tape that edge, okay? Good. Get a good caulking gun. Go buy this plastic one, this HDX. This one's awesome, okay? It actually stops when you stop pulling the trigger. When you stop pulling that trigger, it stops, okay? That's what you want. Some of them old ones you get out of your grandfather's barn or your dad's basement, those things, you squirt it, you let go, you walk away, you get a big caulk, get a big pile of caulk, okay, when you come back, and now you're gonna get rid of that caulk because nobody wants that much caulk. All right, so Johnny Works, caulking gun.